in the bayou where the water runs black is a little wood church, nobody goes back to the gospel that echoed on Sunday mornings loud when my grandmother came with the faithful crowds. The preacher would thunder about heaven and sin while we nodded and swayed and sang deep from within. But the gospel couldn't cure what was rotten below. In the soil of the secrets that nobody would know. Gospel ghosts in the bayou, singing hymns that won't stay, still looking for redemption at the close of the day. Their voices are haunting in the humid night air, asking God for forgiveness, but He don't respond. They're gospel ghosts in the bayou, testifying their truth, that salvation is limited even for you. My father went missing on a Tuesday at noon. They said he was taken by the spirits too soon. But my mama whispered a different kind of tale about a woman across town whose beauty betrayed him to pale. The church went silent when his name came up then, like the gospel couldn't save him from the wages of sin. So we kept praying harder, and we kept singing loud to drown out the truth that we weren't proud. The old spiritual songs speak of freedom and light, but they lived alongside the darkness of night, where the gospel met evil in that humid ground, and the two of them danced in a sickening sound. I heard the old voices still rising and singing from the water and the reeds where the dead things were clinging. They're gospel ghosts now that the living forgot, the ones whose faith wasn't enough for the lot. Maybe faith is just comfort for the ones still alive, to help them keep breathing, to help them survive. But the dead have to reckon with all of the lies that the gospel promised that never materialize. I don't go to that church anymore since that day when I realized the gospel had very little to say about justice and mercy and making things right. It just sang about suffering through the endless night. But I hear the voices still rising and singing, those gospel ghosts in the bayou still clinging to the hope that someday God will come round and lift up the truth from the sacred ground. Gospel ghost in the bayou, singing hymns that won't stay, still looking for redemption at the close of the day. Their voices are haunting in the humid night air, asking God for forgiveness, but He don't respond. Their gospel ghost in the bayou, testifying their truth, that salvation is limited, even for you. There's a neon sign blinking above Bourbon Street, pink and purple and white in the summer heat. It's advertising something that I can't quite name, some product of progress and somebody's fame. But I'm standing beneath it, remembering when these streets were alive with a different kind of light, when the jazz came from souls instead of machines, and the people were real, and the dreams weren't so clean. Neon and nostalgia, that's all that remains of the New Orleans that lived in our veins. The neon's bright promise of something more, but the nostalgia reminds us what we had before. Neon and nostalgia burning so bright in the dying light of the American night. I remember the women in their feathered dresses, the men in their suits and their careful confesses of desire and desperation on the street corners dark, when everybody knew everybody and nobody left a mark. Now it's all tourists and corporations and greed, selling the soul of the city for a fast track speed. And the neon signs promise it's just like it was, but the plastic and the neon have become what it does. There's an old man sitting on a bench by himself. He's watching the neon like it's somebody's wealth. And I ask him, do you remember the old New Orleans? He says, I remember the spaces between the seams. I remember the authenticity that couldn't be fake, the genuine joy and the genuine heartbreak. But the neon and the tourists have stolen it all. Now we're just performing for the corporate hall. The neon wants brightness, the nostalgia wants dark. Together they're singing a bittersweet arc of a city that's dying while trying to live, of all that it's taken and all that it's left to give. So I'm walking the street in the middle of night, looking at the neon and the nostalgic light. And I'm trying to find what's genuine and real in this city of tourists, and how to heal the wound of watching your home get marketed and sold to the people who come here seeking stories retold of a culture that's bleeding while performing for show, of New Orleans burning with a neon glow. Neon and nostalgia, that's all that remains of a New Orleans that lived in our veins. The neon's bright promise of something more, but the nostalgia reminds us what we had before. Neon and nostalgia burning so bright in the dying light of the American night. The band came marching down the street on a Tuesday, leading all the mourners in that old New Orleans way, with a casket on their shoulders and a song in their heart that turns all the sorrow into a beautiful art. They were playing that tune the dead all adore, the one that's been ringing since 100 years before. And the congregation was dancing and swaying, celebrating the life that they all knew was passing. Jazz funeral, New Orleans style, taking you down to the cemetery gates in this sacred ground. The trumpet is crying and the drums keep the time of a life that was lived, of a love so sublime. Jazz funeral, New Orleans style, letting you go with music and dancing and a spiritual glow. My grandmother was the one lying in that box. She had lived 90 years in this city of rocks. She had seen all the changes and the pain and the grace. She had worn this city's history all over her face. So they played her the music that she taught all of us, the spiritual and the jazz, the mercy and the trust, that we're not alone in our sorrow and in our pain, that the music's the bridge, that the music's the vein. I danced in that parade, I cried and I sang, all the people around me, and the bells they rang. And I realized that death isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of legend. It's the height of the glory. 'Cause the music keeps going long after you're dead, in the hearts of the living, in the words that are said, in the way that the city remembers your name, in the brass and the rhythm, in the spiritual flame. This is how we honor, this is how we grieve, this is how we say goodbye, but we never quite leave. The music's eternal, it's the voice of the soul that keeps on forever, that makes broken things whole. So when my time comes, and I know that it will, I want them to carry me down these streets with a will, to play all the music that we've danced to before, and to celebrate living, and to remember the core of what makes us human. What keeps us alive is the ability to grieve and celebrate and strive for connections and meaning in this temporary place. And the music and memory keeping us in grace. Jazz funeral, New Orleans style, taking you down to the cemetery gates in this sacred ground. The trumpet is crying and the drums keep the time of a life that was lived, of a love so sublime. Jazz funeral, New Orleans style, letting you go with music and dancing and a spiritual glow. I've got a box of photographs beneath my bed of mourning, sepia-toned memories of a love that's turned to warning. Your face is getting fainter every time I take a look. You're becoming just an illustration in a sadness book. There's one from summer 1936. You're standing in the sun. Your smile is bright and hopeful. You look like we'd have fun. There's one from autumn later, when the leaves were turning gold. I can see the first cracks forming in the story we were told. Faded photographs, you're stealing my tomorrow, taking all the sharpness and replacing it with sorrow. Faded photographs, you're fading just like him. Every year a little more, until you're merely thin. one that hurts the most is dated Christmas 1939. We're dancing at the ballroom and the world was still divine. I can barely see his face now, it's like fog upon the glass, just a suggestion of the happiness, a shadow of the past. The photographs remind me that all beautiful things die. Even memories grow cloudy, even colors turn to gray. I tried to store them properly in darkness and the dry, but time has its own methods and refuses to comply. The edges curl and crumble, the ink has started to fade, just like the man I loved in a photograph I've made. I wonder if he has a box of photographs too. Does he look at me sometimes? Does he wonder what I do? Or have his photographs turned blank, completely washed away? Has he forgotten me as thoroughly as I've watched him decay? Sometimes I take them out and try to superglue the tears, try to press them back together, try to salvage all the years. But photographs don't work that way. Once damage has begun, you can't make something whole again just by joining seams as one. So I sit here with my box of fading memories and pain, watching all the color leaching from the sunshine and the rain. Soon they'll be completely blank, these windows to the past, and maybe then my heartbreak too will finally not last. Faded photographs, you're stealing my tomorrow, taking all the sharpness and replacing it with sorrow. Faded photographs, you're fading just like him. Every year a little more, until you're merely thin. There's a smell in the swamp of the cypress so deep, mixed with cinnamon and secrets that we don't keep. My grandmother taught me to read the signs in the way that the bayou whispers and designs. She'd take me out at sunset when the light was so gold, and she'd point out the cypress and the stories they hold of the people who came here trying to escape from the world up north in its terrible shape, cypress and cinnamon growing together in the dark. The smell of survival and the smell of the heart. In this swamp of our ancestors, in this murky place, we're searching for something we could call grace. The cinnamon came from the spice merchants' ships that arrived in the port with their treasures and trips. And it mixed with the cypress in the humid air, created a smell that was strange and rare. And my grandmother said that the smell was a sign of the meeting of worlds, of a space in between, where the African magic and the European greed created a culture that nobody needs. But we're here now, and we're part of the mix, and the cypress and cinnamon are part of what sticks to our skin and our memories and our weary soul. They're the fragrance of home, and they make us whole. I'm teaching my children to respect what is here, to honor the cypress and the cinnamon dear, to know that their roots go deeper than time, to a place where the sacred and the secular combine. The cypress knows silence, it knows how to stand, rooted deep in the water in this strange land. The cinnamon knows sweetness and spice and fire. Together they remind us of our deep desire to belong to a place that's both broken and true, to walk through the swamp in the evening dew, and to breathe in the cypress and the cinnamon air, and to know in my bones that somebody cares, that the ancestors carved out a space for us here, in the muck, in the mystery, in the swamp we hold dear. And the cypress and cinnamon are proof that we tried to create something new from what could not be denied. Cypress and cinnamon growing together in the dark. The smell of survival and the smell of the heart, in this swamp of our ancestors, in this murky place, we're searching for something we could call grace. There's an old hotel on 5th and Main where nobody goes anymore. The elevator's stuck at 7 and the paint is on the floor. Room 237 is where I'm living now, where the ghosts and I reside. And the mirrors in the hallways show me nowhere left to hide. The desk clerk downstairs, he's been dead for 17 years, but he still comes up on Tuesdays and he whispers in my ears. Says the people that I'm running from will never find me here in the old hotel where nobody's been living for a decade, dear. Old hotel, old hotel, falling down into the dust, where the only thing remaining is the memory of trust, where the lovers came for secrets and the broken came to rest, and the old hotel kept swallowing the dying and the blessed. Old hotel, you're a sanctuary for the lost, and I'd rather live in darkness than pay any other cost. There's a woman on the 3rd floor who's been waiting for her love. She's been standing at the window looking heavenward above. They say he left her 50 years ago without a single word, and she's still looking for his shadow, still waiting to be heard. I could leave this broken monument, I could try to be alive, but the old hotel's been kind to me in ways I can't describe. It asks no questions of my past, it doesn't care what's true. It just holds me close and rocks me like a lullaby in blue. The walls are breathing slowly with the weight of all the years, all the whispered conversations and the unresolved fears. All the people that have perished in these rooms have left a stain, and the old hotel's alive with their eternal refrain. When the building finally collapses and the foundation turns to dust, I'll be here among the rubble, here among the rust, and the old hotel, and I will be a memory of the dead, a cautionary tale about the living and the bread. Old hotel, falling down into the dust, where the only thing remaining is the memory of trust, where the lovers came for secrets and the broken came to rest, and the old hotel kept swallowing the dying and the blessed. Old hotel, you're a sanctuary for the lost, and I'd rather live in darkness than pay any other cost. He clasped that pearl necklace around my throat last night. Said it looked like moonlight against my skin so white. 40 pearls perfectly round and matched with care, like promises woven through my dark hair. But promises break, and so did the string, when he walked out the door without saying a thing. I watched them scatter across the hardwood floor, each one a moment I won't live anymore, rolling like tears toward the baseboards and walls, bouncing down corridors, echoing through empty halls. I tried to catch them, but my hands were too slow, like trying to hold on to love when it has to go. Pearls are breaking, breaking, breaking into the past, every lustrous sphere spinning down unsurpassable fast. 40 perfect moments becoming chaos and pain, like raindrops falling against a window pane. The necklace is shattered, the truth is laid bare. There's nothing that's precious in love or in air. I'm crawling along on my hands and my knees, collecting the fragments brought down to my pleas. Some pearls are missing, they vanished from sight, swallowed by the shadows of this endless night. The string that had held them was beautiful and strong, but not strong enough for what he wanted all along. I'll string them back up with a different kind of knot, make something broken into something I've got. The holes don't show when the light's shining right, and from far away they're still lustrous white. But I know they're fractured, I'll always remember the night that my jewelry became my surrender. I wear the pearls now, though they're incomplete, a broken reminder of a love bittersweet. Some nights I hear them rolling along the floor, like the ghost of his footsteps heading toward the door. They're cold against my skin, the heaviest chains, these pearls that are breaking me over again. He'll give someone else a necklace of new, unbroken, pristine, a fresh shade of true. And maybe she won't hear them shattering down, maybe she'll be different, she'll stay in his town. But I'll wear these broken pearls till the day that I die, a broken promise with nowhere to hide. Pearls are breaking, breaking, breaking into the past, every lustrous sphere spinning down unsurpassable fast. 40 perfect moments becoming chaos and pain, like raindrops falling again against a window pane. There's a platform at the station and a clock that's winding down, and I'm standing with my suitcase in this broken, dying town. Got a ticket for the last train that will ever come through here, and the weight of all my failures is exactly what I fear. There's an old man on the bench who says he's been here for so long that he's become a part of the concrete, become another stone. He says the trains keep coming, but they never take away the ghosts that haunt the platform in the dying light of day. The last train, the last train, coming down the golden rails, carrying all the broken dreams and all the sorry tales. It'll take me where the living and the dying look the same, where nobody's asking questions and nobody knows my name. The last train, the last train, it's a mercy and a curse. It'll save me from this purgatory, or it'll make things worse. I remember when I came here on a morning full of hope, young enough to believe in things like dreams and maybe rope tie around the future and the man I thought he was. But the future never came, and now I'm running just because. Let the smoke pour from the engine, let the whistle split the sky. Let me climb aboard that final ride and finally say goodbye to the woman that I was here, to the promises I made, to the light that used to guide me before it started fade. The conductor's calling all aboard in a voice that sounds like fate, and I'm stepping up the ladder, though I don't know what await. But the darkness holds no terrors when you've already been to hell, and the last train's just another place for broken girls to dwell. As we're pulling from a station and the platform disappears, I'm not looking back at nothing, not at anyone I feared. The rails stretch on forever toward a place I can't yet see, and I'm closing my eyes, grateful that the last train set me free. The last train, the last train, coming down the golden rails, carrying all the broken dreams It's a mercy and a curse. It'll save me from this purgatory, or it'll make things worse. Your letter came addressed in your careful hand, posted from somewhere in a foreign land. The stamps all worn from the mail it passed through 37 countries before it reached you. I've read it so many times, the words are worn thin. The creases are soft from the places I've been. Carrying it close to my heart all these days, trying to hold on to what your love says. Wartime letter, fading fast. The ink of your love isn't meant to last, but I'll read it till the words disappear. Every sentence is the only thing I hear. Wartime letter, all I have of the man you were before the aftermath. You wrote about missing the magnolia trees and how you dream of the warm summer breeze. How you'd lie in the dark in a tent with the men and imagine our wedding day happening again. You said that the war couldn't touch what we had, that our love was a light when the outlook was bad. But your handwriting shaking on the final line, like even you knew the premonitions of time. The telegram came on a Tuesday at dawn. Your mama went silent, all her laughter was gone. The letter you sent after wasn't the same. Something in the words had forever changed. The doctor said shrapnel, said you'd make it through, but the man who came back wasn't the same as you. And I held that letter like a prayer to the past, knowing love couldn't save us from being ambushed at last. Wartime's cruel that way, I've come to know. It takes the young and sends back the old, changed in ways that love cannot repair. And we're left holding memories of someone not there. I'm an old woman now, and you're long since gone, but I still have that letter worn and withdrawn. The words are mostly illegible, but I know them by heart. Every scar and every breaking apart, it sits in a frame on my nightstand at night that testament to a love that took flight before the war stole what it couldn't take hold, and left me with this letter and an incomplete soul. Wartime letter, fading fast. The ink of your love isn't meant to last, but I'll read it till the words disappear. Every sentence is the only thing I hear. Wartime letter, all I have of the man you were before the aftermath. I went to a funeral for a woman I didn't know. The church was full of flowers, white and red. I sat in the back, trying to process the show of grief and remembrance for the dead. Her children and her grandchildren were crying. Her husband looked like he was turning to dust. And I realized that I was dying, not physically, but emotionally. I must. Funeral flowers and future loss, the reality of what it'll cost to love somebody, to be somebody's wife, to build with them a shared life. Funeral flowers and future loss, the weight of the knowledge that we'll cross from being lovers to being alone, to returning to the quiet, cold stone. That woman's husband seemed so broken, like he couldn't imagine how to go on, like his entire world had been taken it away and would never be back like dawn. I thought about my own husband, still alive but aging, getting old. I realized that one of us would be undone by losing the other, be left in the cold. I went home and looked at my husband, sleeping peacefully beside me in bed. I thought about the life that we've managed, all the years of memories in my head. I thought about the day when one of us would be attending the other's funeral, and I felt a strange and tremulous terror at the loss that would be real. The funeral flowers are beautiful and bright, a last gesture of love for the dead, but they'll wilt and fade by the next night. They're a symbol of the path we dread, that we'll all end up in a casket with flowers we'll never see or smell, that someone we love will have to bask in the knowledge that we've gone to hell. I started asking my husband more questions about his dreams, his fears, his past. I wanted to know all his impressions before the time came, before it was last. He seemed confused by my sudden urgency. I couldn't explain why I needed to know every detail of his existence and his emergency. Every moment before he had to go. He's been gone for 5 years now, and I'm the woman at the funeral's end. I'm the one who doesn't know how to continue, how to bend the pain into something that I can carry, the loss into something I can understand. I have the flowers, they're getting old and hairy, and I wish I'd known what I now can. I see young couples, and I want to tell them about the loss, about the cost, about the funeral flowers that will tell them that love is beautiful, but love is lost. I want to tell them to hold each other closer, to remember every moment that they share, before one of them becomes a closer to the other, and they're left in despair. Funeral flowers and future loss, and the price of love, no matter the cost. I stand outside the nightclub where the velvet ropes divide the people who are wanted from the ones like me denied. I watch them through the doorway, see them dancing, drinking wine, and I'm left in the darkness wondering why you're not mine. The doorman recognizes me, he nods, he lets me in. I've been here every evening for the weeks that have been thin. I find a table in the back where nobody can see my heartbreak and my whiskey and the ghost of what will be. Velvet ropes and regrets, that's the story of my life. Being on the outside, looking at the light. Velvet ropes and regrets, separated by a cord from the love I was denied, the peace I can't afford. You used to come here with me, we'd dance beneath the lights. We'd feel like we were royalty, we'd feel like everything was right. But then you found your level, and it wasn't quite my height. And suddenly the velvet ropes were there to block me from the light. ropes are just illusions, they're symbolic of the walls we build between ourselves and those we've never served at all. I see you in the corner with somebody new tonight, someone who belongs beside you, someone who's your right. The velvet ropes that kept me out have suddenly come down for those with the correct pedigree to wear your kind of crown. I used to think the ropes were made of something physical and real, but now I understand they're made of all the things I feel. My inadequacy, my shame, my wrongness at my core. These are the velvet ropes that keep me from your door. I've tried to cut them, burn them, tried to step right over them, but they're woven into who I am. They're part of my stem, the way I move through space, the way I fail to quite belong. They're in my very DNA, they're in my every song. So I keep coming to the nightclub, keep paying my admission, keep watching from my table, keep denying my intuition that maybe I should find a place that has no velvet ropes, a place where broken people like me still have some kind of hope. But I know that place doesn't exist in any real way. There are always ropes of some kind keeping me at bay. So I sit here with my cocktail and I watch the people dance, and I know I'll never be allowed into your heart's expanse. Velvet ropes and regrets, that's the story of my life. Being on the outside, looking at the light. Velvet ropes and regrets, separated by a cord from the love I was denied, the peace I can't afford. The garden district's sleeping, but the gardens don't rest. The flowers keep blooming in their obsessive best. And I'm walking the sidewalks where the trolley don't come, past the mansions that house all the broken and the ones. There's a woman in a rocking chair on a veranda so grand. She's been there for hours, I don't think she stands. And her eyes follow me as I walk through the night, like she knows something about me that I can't get right. Midnight in the garden district, where the shadows run deep, where the secrets are buried beneath the magnolia trees. and the women are waiting for something they can't name. Midnight in the Garden District, remembering shame. The rain's falling softly on the azalea red, on the garden that's tended by the living and dead. There's a gate that's locked tight to keep the world out, but it don't keep the sorrow from finding about. I remember this street from a lifetime ago, when I lived in a house here with a terrible show of civility and propriety, covering up all the darkness that nobody would dare to corrupt. There's a man on this corner, he's doing something strange. He's picking up flowers that the gardens exchange, and he's laying them down in a pattern that's clear, like he's trying to speak to somebody near. And I realize he's grieving for something long lost in this garden district. No matter the cost of maintaining appearances and looking just right, the sorrow seeps through like a stain in the night. The garden district's beautiful in the way that it hurts. It's a place where the wealthy come to nurse all their shirks of responsibility for the world that's outside of their gates and their gardens and their civilized pride. I'm walking these streets and I'm starting to see all the sadness hidden by the civility, all the women in their dressing gowns waiting for dawn, all the men coming home from the places they've gone. And I'm grateful for the midnight and the darkness and rain that washes away all the pretense and the strain, that allows us to see what we're all trying to hide. In the garden district at midnight we confide. Midnight in the garden district, where the shadows run deep, where the secrets are buried beneath the magnolia trees, and the women are waiting for something they can't name. Midnight in the garden district, remembering shame. There's a music box sitting on my shelf that my grandmother gave me when I was myself. The ballet dancer spinning in the mirrored lid is doing a dance that doesn't exist anymore. The melody's halting, it's catching and slow, like my heart when I remember the long ago. The mechanism's broken from years of neglect. The springs are all worn and the gears won't connect. But I wind it up nightly and I listen to it play, this broken and beautiful ballet display. The dancer keeps spinning, though she's spinning all wrong, and somehow her stumbling completes the song. Oh, broken music box, you've accompanied my pain, like a metronome of heartbreak that plays once again. The melody's fragmented, but it's beautiful still, like broken things always are when you learn to sit still. The music box is broken, and so am I too, but together we're making something that feels true. The ballerina's faded pink, she's chipped and she's worn, and her smile is reminding me of how love is torn. She's forever rotating in this endless cascade of winding and unwinding, and the music we've made. I've tried to fix her many times before, but the beauty exists in the broken and sore. The music box teaches me something profound, that broken things often make the most beautiful sound, that imperfection is the only truth, that decay is the definition of youth. So I wind up the music box, accept all the breaks, and I dance to the stumbling for beauty's sake. I've passed on the music box to my daughter with care, and told her the story of the love that's laid bare, that beautiful broken things are worth keeping around, that the most precious music is the damaged sound. She holds it with reverence, she understands well that the broken music box has a story to tell. I imagine the music box 100 years on, still playing its broken ballet when we're gone. My daughter's daughter will wind it up slow, and she'll understand that she doesn't need to let go of the beautiful broken things we inherit in life, that survive the ravages of time and of strife. The music box is slowing now, as I reach my own end. The melody's fainter with every wind, but I'm grateful that it's broken, that it's cracked at the seams. It's kept me connected to my broken dreams. When my heart finally stills and my voice leaves this earth, the music box will keep playing and proving my worth. Oh, broken music box, you've accompanied my pain, like a metronome of heartbreak that plays once again. The melody's fragmented, but it's beautiful still, like broken things always are. When you learn to sit still. Sailing down the river on a boat that's made of dreams, where the reality is shattered into splinters at the seams. The paddle wheel keeps turning, taking me to yesterday, where you're waiting at the landing with your heart out on display. Mississippi whispers all the secrets that it knows, the stories of 1,000 loves, the way the river flows. I stand out on the deck and watch the shoreline disappear. I'm sailing toward a memory, moving ever near. Riverboat dreams, they're carrying me away to a place where you still love me, and you know just what to say. Riverboat dreams, floating down the stream, taking me to every moment of the love that used to seem. There's music from the salon drifting through the humid night. Gentlemen in tuxedos dancing in the light. I see you dancing with me, though you're not really there. I feel the phantom pressure of your hand upon my head. The river carries all of us toward an unknown sea. We're just passengers on currents. We're not meant to be free. I watch the other couples dancing, cheek to cheek so close, and realize that what we had was just an empty ghost, a phantom made of whispers and of hoping against hope, a fragile kind of magic that had nothing left to cope. The moon reflects upon the water like a silver road. Follow it with empty eyes, I carry this heavy load. The riverboat keeps moving and the night becomes the day, and I'm still dancing with your memory in a solitary way. The landing comes too quickly, and the dream begins to fade. The boat comes to a stop, and all my hope begins to jade. I step out on the platform where the morning light is gray, and know I'll board the riverboat again another day. There's always gonna be a boat that sails at dusk and dark, that takes me to the moments where you left your burning mark. I'm addicted to the sailing, to the fantasy and pain of riding down the river in perpetual refrain. Riverboat dreams, they carrying me away to a place where you still love me, and you know just what to say. Riverboat dreams, floating down the stream, taking me to every moment of the love that used to seem. The neon's burning crimson on a street that never sleeps, where the angels have all fallen and the devils keep their keep. There's a motel on the corner with a flickering sign above. It spells out all the stories of abandoned kinds of love. I've been living in the neon light since I was 17. Been dancing with the shadows of the beautiful and mean. There's a mirror in the bathroom that's reflecting something strange, something that looks broken in a fundamental way. Neon nights, painting all the dark with light, where the wrong things feel so perfect underneath the burning bright, where you can be a liar and nobody asks you for the truth, and you can die 1,000 times and still be young and smooth. Neon nights, they're the only kind I know. Where you can disappear completely and still steal the show. There's a saxophone player in the club 3 blocks down, playing sounds like angels crying in this God-forsaken town. And the men come in to drink deep and to find what they have lost, but the neon keeps on glowing and it don't care about the cost. I've been beautiful for money, and I've been true for lies. I've been everything they wanted that they found in my eyes. The neon's always been my home, doesn't ask me to be clean. It just colors all the darkness into every single dream. When the morning starts, it's creeping. I can feel the neon fade, but the burns it left upon my skin are never gonna shade. So I sleep through all the daylight, waiting for the dark to come, when the neon's gonna wake me and remind me I'm not numb. I could leave this burning city, I could find another way, but the neon's in my bloodstream and it owns me every day. So I keep on burning bright here in this town of broken glass, and I'll be the neon's brightest light, the queen of all this trash. Neon nights, painting all the dark with light, where the wrong things feel so perfect underneath the burning bright, where you can be a liar and nobody asked you for the truth, and you can die 1,000 times and still be young and smooth. Neon nights, they're the only kind I know, where you can disappear completely and still steal the show. I'm staring at the telephone wires stretched across the street, carrying messages of love and lies and deceit. I've called you on this telephone 1,000 times before, and each time you don't answer, each time my heart drops more. The operator knows my voice, she knows that I'm calling you. She probably hears the desperation in everything I do. The wires carry my words to you, they carry my longing too, but the telephone wires just hang there. They don't know what to do. Telephone wires, can you carry my heart to him? Can you make him understand the state that I am in? Telephone wires, strung up between us two, but you can't make him listen, you can't make him come through. There's been 1,000 conversations on these wires, I'm sure, but nothing seems to penetrate, nothing seems to cure. I need to hear his voice one more time, just one more word. I'll settle for the silence on the line, if that's all I can hurt. The wires connect the city, but they never could connect. The space between two hearts that have completely disconnected. I walk beneath the telephone wires, and I look up at the sky, and I wonder if my words are getting tangled up on high. If somewhere in the web of wires my confession is astray, if it's reaching for him endlessly but never finding its way. The wires are important infrastructure, everyone agrees. They carry all the messages that bind us to our needs, but they're just physical structures. They're not magic, they're not real. They can't make someone love you, they can't make someone feel. I've tried to cut the wires to stop myself from calling, but they just get repaired, and I'm back to the falling, into the compulsion, into the desperate need to hear you say you love me, to plant that final seed. The telephone wires stretch across this city far and wide, but they can't bridge the distance, can't provide the avenue wide for my words to reach your heart and stay inside. The wires are just conduits for a love that's tied. One day I'll stop calling, one day I'll let them be. The telephone wires stretching out eternally, carrying someone else's words to someone else's heart, while I'm standing under them, torn completely apart. But for now, I'm still here beneath the wires, making my plea, hoping that somehow the signals will reach you and make you see that I'm still here waiting, still here on the line, hoping that the wires will finally make you mine. Telephone wires, can you carry my heart to him? Can you make him understand the state that I am in? Telephone wires strung up between us two, but you can't make him listen, you can't make him come through. I found an abandoned greenhouse on the edge of town, where flowers die in silence and the vines are falling down. You brought me here one summer when you wanted to impress. You said that you would build a world of beauty for us blessed. But now the glass is broken and the flowers have all died. The vines are choking everything, the light is locked inside. The greenhouse that was supposed to be our paradise is now a mausoleum where our dreams have turned to ice. Abandoned greenhouse, where our flowers died. Abandoned greenhouse, where we said goodbye. Abandoned greenhouse, you're a monument to pain, to love that couldn't grow despite the sun and rain. I walk among the skeletons of plants that used to bloom. The dirt is hard and cracked beneath this glass and wooden tomb. I remember thinking that if we could create a life inside this greenhouse together, then I'd be your wife. The greenhouse couldn't hold us, couldn't keep us alive. Nothing built on false promises could ever hope to thrive. The vines have taken over, they're reclaiming all the space, weaving through the wreckage at a slow and steady pace. They don't care about the love that once was cultivated here. They just grow and grow regardless of the atmosphere. I've thought about leaving here, but I keep coming back to walk among the wilting plants, to see what they lack. Perhaps if I keep tending them, keep trying to revive the garden that we planted, maybe I could feel alive. But gardens need sunlight, and they need the proper care. They need a gentle hand and someone who's always there. I can't be both the gardener and the thing that's being grown. I've spent so much effort, and I'm tired and alone. The glass panels are shattered and the rain comes pouring in. The lines between the inside and the outside start to thin. Maybe that's a metaphor for what I should allow to happen to these boundaries between my heart and now. I could let the greenhouse fall completely to the ground, let the vines consume it, let it crumble without sound. Let nature reclaim what we tried to cultivate and keep. And maybe then my heart could finally get some sleep. But I'm not ready yet to let it go completely. I'll keep coming back and tending it slowly and sweetly, until the day arrives when I can finally walk away from the abandoned greenhouse where my hope went to decay. Abandoned greenhouse where our flowers died. Abandoned greenhouse where we said goodbye. Abandoned greenhouse, you're a monument to pain, to love that couldn't grow despite the sun and rain. We're sitting in a circle in the candlelit dark, holding hands around the Ouija board like a spiritual lark. The medium is swaying, she's beginning to slip into a trance while we're holding our breath. We're calling to ghosts that might wanna speak, to tell us the secrets of the long and the sleek. The planchette is moving across the letters slow, spelling out messages from the long ago. B-O-N-T and T-R-U-S-T and B-E-W-A-R-E are the words that the spirits are sending through air. The candles are flickering in response to their voice, as if they are trying to give us a choice. Oh, candlelit seance, you're burning the veil between the living and those beyond pale. The spirits are restless, they're trying to say what they left undone in their yesterday. The candles burn lower, the shadows grow tall, and the dead are reaching for us all. A woman's voice comes through the medium's lips. She died in this city with a knife to the ribs. She's warning us all about a man with a charm who comes to seduce us and brings us to harm. The seance is heating, the candles go wild as she screams about suffering and dying defiled. The planchette is moving faster and faster now. The circle is breaking, we're losing control somehow. The candles are guttering low and then bright, and the boundary between the two worlds is paper thin light. We're screaming, we're running, we're praying to survive, but the dead want us with them. They want us alive. We burst through the door and we scatter like ghosts. The seance is over, the spirit's last posts, but the medium stays behind in a trance that won't break. She's become the conduit for all of their sake. She's speaking in languages long dead and gone, and the candle's still burning now and on and on. The next night we gather with candles once more. We need to know what the spirits had in store, but the medium's warning us the seance won't end, that the spirits aren't leaving. They're calling for friends. So we dim down the lights and we cover the board, and we pray that the dead will just leave us ignored. Oh, candlelit seance, you're burning the veil between the living and those beyond. The rain comes down on these cobblestones old, washing away what the day couldn't hold. I'm walking through streets that remember the past, where every corner holds a moment that won't last. The puddles are mirrors reflecting the sky, and I can see your face in the wet and goodbye. The gas lamps are glowing, all yellow and strange, in this city where everything seems to change. Cobblestone rain falling on my shoulders, wet and persistent as I'm getting older. This street's been rained on 1,000 times before. Each drop carries lovers who came and no more. Cobblestone rain washing my story into the gutters, away from its glory. There's a woman ahead with a shawl pulled tight, moving through this evening with such careful sight. And I wonder if she's walking away or toward something that's waiting around this street's chord. The French Quarter's breathing like it always does, with secrets and sorrow and what was because. And the rain is the rhythm that the city keeps time, a melancholy melody, a jazz-colored rhyme. I slip on the stones that are slick and are smooth from 1,000 years of people who couldn't prove that their love could last or their dreams could come true, but they left their mark on these streets running through. The balconies drip and the shutters are closed on the stories inside that nobody knows. And I'm standing here soaking in the atmospheric haze, lost in the cobblestone and the rain's gentle gaze. The city don't care if you stay or if you go. It just keeps on raining on the stones down below. Every person who walks here is part of the dance of the beautiful, tragic, inevitable chance. Now the dawn's breaking through and the rain's going still, and the stones are glistening on this historical hill. And I'm walking toward home, though I don't know where that is, just following a cobblestone and accepting the fizz of the electricity that happens when past meets the now, when the rain washes over and shows us just how we're all just temporary visitors passing through on these cobblestones wet with the rain and the dew. Cobblestone rain falling on my shoulders, wet and persistent as I'm getting older. This street's been rained on 1,000 times before. Each drop carries lovers who came in no more cobblestone rain, washing my story into the gutters away from its glory. Keep a bottle of absinthe on my table. It's half empty, or maybe half full. A green, bitter poison that's my only fable of the times when my veins weren't dull. I used to drink it in the early evenings with a man who painted who'd create. He'd paint me in the haze, in the leaving of consciousness before it got too late. Absinthe in absence, that's my affair with a man who was never really there. Green dreams and hallucinations of a love that never came to fruition. Absinthe and absence, intoxicated nights in a world that only existed in the light of the candles burning down, down in a room with soundproofed walls. He'd pour the absinthe over a sugar cube, watch it cloud and turn a milky white. He said, this is how beauty gets subdued. The clean lines blur, everything gets light. He'd paint me in those moments of confusion when I couldn't tell what was real, when my body was just a soft illusion, and all I wanted was to feel. The paintings he made were beautiful and strange, bodies that were half woman, half ghost, expressions caught in a moment of change between consciousness and the dying post. He sold a few of them, became famous. He moved to Paris, left me here. He said, you're just a muse, don't be nervous. You're the inspiration, dear. The thing about absinthe is the thujon, the compound that they say will make you mad. But I think it's just honesty in a bottle, the truth about love, the truth that's sad, that people use other people for their art, that beauty is just a temporary thing, that the moment somebody steals your heart, it's just to use it for something. I tried to stop drinking the absinthe, but it was the only thing that made sense, the only way I could pretend that I wasn't spending all my days alone, waiting for a letter from him, for a sign that I mattered more than the canvas painting, that I was more than just a design. He never wrote, he never came back. He's famous now, his paintings in museums, and he's married to a woman in the back. He's had children, he's built his career, and sometimes I see his paintings in magazines with captions about his muses and his art. And I'm just one of many in his scenes, just one of many, just one part. The absinthe is nearly gone now, and soon I'll have to buy another. I've become my own kind of artist, using the bottle as my palette, mixing colors of regret and resignation in a glass in my own private station. The green dreams are becoming duller, but they're still the only thing I have. Absinthe and absence in a glass in my hand. There's rain upon the window pane, and it's running down the glass. I watch each droplet slowly sliding, moving way too fast. The city outside is blurred, it's washed away in gray, just like the life I used to have before you went away. I tap upon the window, try to communicate with rain, but it just keeps on falling, and it doesn't ease the pain. The rain is cold and careless, it's indifferent to my tears. It's been falling for forever, and it's falling through the years. Rain on the window pane, can you wash away the past? Can you cleanse me of the love that never ever lasts? Rain on the window pane, you're the only friend I know who understands the silence and the way that sadness flows. There's couples walking down below, they're huddled close and warm, protected from the weather, protected from the storm. I wish that I had someone who could shield me from the cold, but I'm just watching water trace the stories that I'm told. The window pane is misty, and I trace my name in moisture, but it evaporates before the meaning becomes closure. I used to think that rain was beautiful, a gift from up above, a symbol of renewal and the purifying of love. But now I know that rain is just the weather doing its thing, has no magic in it, and it doesn't heal a thing. The rain accumulates in gutters and then flows down to drains, disappearing into darkness, following the stains. Just like my love for you has disappeared without a trace, washed away by time and distance and the falling of the rain. Sometimes I press my hand against the cold glass here and try to touch the droplets, try to bring them near, but they're on the other side, and there's always this barrier between the rain and me, between what's here and there. The window pane becomes a mirror in the darkness of the night. I see my own reflection in the pale and dying light. The woman staring back at me is someone I don't know, someone made of sadness and the slow eternal flow. The rain will keep on falling long after I am gone. It will be falling down forever, falling on and on. It doesn't care about my heartbreak, doesn't notice my despair. The rain just keeps on raining, indifferent to my prayer. Rain on the window pane, can you wash away the past? Can you cleanse me of the love that never ever lasts? Rain on the window pane, you're the only friend I know who understands the silence and the way that sadness flows. By the river where the factories bleed their poison into night, there's a woman standing smoking, watching shadows dance in light. She's been waiting for the ferry boat that'll take her far away from the smoke upon the water and the price she's had to pay. There's a sailor that she's waiting for who promised her the world, said he'd come back in the springtime, said she was his precious girl. But the factories keep burning and the smoke keeps rolling in, and the woman's still waiting, growing thinner from within. Smoke on the water, drifting down the ancient stream, carrying all my heartbreak and swallowing my dreams. The factories are churning out the death that'll take us down, but I'm still here on the shoreline, in this dying, broken town. smoke on the water. It's a blanket thick and cold, and I'm wrapped up in the darkness, getting older than I'm old. I was beautiful when I was young, worked in the factory too, till my hands got scarred and broken, and my future turned to blue. He was the only kindness in the darkness of that place. Now I'm standing on the shoreline with smoke across my face. The river doesn't care about the love I sacrificed. It just carries on forever, regardless of the price. And the smoke just keeps on rising from the factories in the night, while I'm watching it all vanish into industrial light. Some days I feel the rope around my neck, so heavy and so tight, and I wonder if the river would be kinder than the night. Would it hold me gently underneath its surface, cold and wide, or would it spit me back out on the industrial tide? But I stay here on the shoreline, watching smoke upon the water, living out the final days as a broken factory's daughter. And I'm praying that the ferry comes to take me far from here before the smoke descends completely and I disappear. Smoke on the water, drifting down the ancient stream, carrying all my heartbreak and swallowing my dreams. The factories are churning out the death that'll take us down, but I'm still here on the shoreline in this dying, broken town. Smoke on the water, it's a blanket thick and cold, and I'm wrapped up in the darkness, getting older than I'm old. There's a woman in the corner of the Red Dragon room, dressed in midnight blue and trailing perfume like a tune. Her cigarette holder catches neon's dying glow. She orders gin and tonic, never lets a whisper go. In the velvet shadows where the secrets sleep, she's been waiting 17 years for promises to keep. The band plays mournful melodies that match her weary eyes. each note a small betrayal, a beautiful goodbye. In the velvet shadows, that's where she hides her soul, where the music drapes like cobwebs, and she's slowly losing hold. In the velvet shadows, nobody knows her name, just a silhouette at midnight, dancing with her shame. The bartender knows her story, knows it by heart, knows about the soldier who tore her world apart. Every Friday evening she returns to this same stool, waiting for a ghost that makes her look the fool. Shadows stretch and lengthen as the dawn comes creeping in. She gathers up her dignity and starts the night again. In the velvet shadows, that's where she hides her soul, where the music drapes like cobwebs, and she's slowly losing hold. In the velvet shadows, nobody knows her name, just a silhouette at midnight, dancing with her shame. Morning finds the empty room, the jazz band all gone still. The shadows fade to nothing, but her heartache lingers still. She leaves her lipstick stain upon a glass of yesterday and walks into the daylight, counting down her final day. We're sitting in a circle in the candlelit dark, holding hands around the Ouija board like a spiritual lark. The medium is swaying, she's beginning to slip into a trance while we're holding our breath. We're calling to ghosts that might want to speak, to tell us the secrets of the long and the sleek. The planchette is moving across the letter slow, spelling out messages from the long ago. DONT and TRUST and BEWARE are the words that the spirits are sending through air. The candles are flickering in response to their voice, as if they are trying to give us a choice. Oh, candlelit seance, you're burning the veil between the living and those beyond pale. The spirits are restless, they're trying to say what they left undone in their yesterday. The candles burn lower, the shadows grow tall, and the dead are reaching for us all. A woman's voice comes through the medium's lips. She died in this city with a knife to the ribs. She's warning us all about a man with a charm who comes to seduce us and brings us to harm. The seance is heating, the candles go wild as she screams about suffering, dying, defiled. The planchette is moving faster and faster now. The circle is breaking, we're losing control somehow. The candles are guttering low and then bright, and the boundary between the two worlds is paper-thin light. We're screaming, we're running, we're praying to survive, but the dead want us with them. They want us alive. We burst through the door and we scatter like ghosts. The seance is over, the spirit's last posts, but the medium stays behind in a trance that won't break. She's become the conduit for all of their sake. She's speaking in languages long dead and gone, and the candle's still burning now and on and on. The next night we gather with candles once more. We need to know what the spirits had in store, but the medium's warning us the seance won't end, that the spirits aren't leaving, they're calling for friends. So we dim down the lights and we cover the board, and we pray that the dead will just leave us ignored. Oh, candlelit seance, you're burning the veil between the beyond pale. The spirits are restless, they're trying to say what they left undone in their yesterday.